Hey, welcome or welcome back to 4F Beauty. When will I be YouTube famous? I don't know. What I do know is on my quest to become YouTube famous, or at least share this channel with a few more people and share my love for makeup and my breakage of the makeup rules. You know, I'm that girl that's going to use shimmer through my crease in my 40s. I don't care. I'm actually part of a group of equally lovely ladies with smaller channels. We are the Beauty YouTuber Growth Group, and their channels are linked in my description box below. Once you've watched my film, it would be awesome if you would please pop across and check one of theirs out now. Today's film is a bit of a fun one because it's an almost full face of Wet n Wild products. So, if you want to know what goodies are in this box, my friend, you are going to have to watch this film and find out. Hey, welcome back from the intro. Right, I would have shown you this in the intro, but of course at the moment you haven't got a Scooby what's in it, apart from the fact it's Wet n Wild stuff. Now, I occasionally buy stuff in gift boxes because it's useful if I'm going to be doing stuff on here. And also I use it for storing lipsticks, as you can see in this Urban Decay one. So just to make sure that I rotate through all my lipsticks, I've got 12 out over here, which I use for a couple of weeks, and then once I've used one, once I figure I've used particular ones enough, I take them out, rotate new ones in. That's how I make sure I go through all of my collection of lipsticks, because I have got a significant amount, even if you just take into account the Jeffree Star ones without all the others that I've got. So, now long-term viewers already know I have got a Wet n Wild foundation, and I have got a Wet n Wild silver highlighter, and I have got a Wet n Wild blush in Precious Pink, I think it's called. And then all of a sudden, Beauty Bay got Wet n Wild. I got extremely excited, did a big order, didn't arrive, disappeared, no idea where it went to. After much toing and froing, I finally got my money back from Beauty Bay. So I ended up ordering the stuff from Boots when it arrived in Boots instead. But I did make an order from Beauty Bay a couple of days ago because they got some of the goth stuff in. So I'm just going to run through every single Wet n Wild item that I either already have or have recently purchased is in here. So, Voyage of Discovery, let's show you what's in here first. Let's get the items out of the way that you know I've already got. So, that would be my Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation in shade Shell Ivory. I'm pretty sure the foundation review I've done for that is now live. I will try and remember to link it in the description. I have got the Diamond Lily highlighter, which of course you will have already seen, and it's pearlescent pink, not precious pink, blush. So those three items I already had. Everything else is new. But I'm going to try and do an almost full face, or as much of a full face as I can do, because I haven't got everything, using Wet n Wild stuff. Let's see how well we do. So I decided I'd get one of their flat top foundation brushes and try the foundation with that. And I also got one of their super fluffy blending brushes. For more detailed work I will of course be going back to my other brushes, but I thought I'd grab this one to see what it's like, whether it's any good at all. I've got three different eyeshadow palettes. I've got this little mini one called Sweet as Candy. Then I got their Rosé in the Air, which is their version of sort of modern Renaissance, and I'm actually going to be using this shade here to do my bronze stroke contour today, because I didn't buy a bronzer because it looked a little bit too red. And I also got their Comfort Zone one, which I'm throwing all over the place already. Great. Which looks like that. So kind of maybe sweet peach, maybe the peach one from Too Faced that's like, because it's got the peach and the greens and the blues and stuff. So 3 eyeshadow palettes. Two highlighters, one of them in Blossom Glow, which is one of their regular ones, and then one of their new limited edition gothic ones called White Raven. I also picked up a loose highlighter in Moon Tears, and I did undo this, but let's see if I can just wipe that bit there clean, just so you can see the detail on the top, because really cute. This is actually, just wipe it with a wet wipe and then give it a bit of a dry off so you can actually see the detail. The actual sifter for it is shaped like a skull. How cute is that? So yeah, loose highlight. That back in the box. Right, what else have I got to show you? What haven't I got to show you is the question. I got the matching Photo Focus concealer to try out. I got shade Light Ivory in that, if you were wondering. Picked up their Renegade mascara. I have tried a mini sample of this before and loved it. Wish they'd get the purple one in stock though. I also picked up I'm chucking things everywhere. The Photo Focus Matte Primer. It's coming over quite dark, so I'm expecting my white balance to go up and down like nobody's business today. So yeah, this is 25 mils. Same formula, new look, because apparently before it was in a white bottle, but there we go. Matte primer to try. And the last few items in here. One of the Goth collection with the skulls on the holographic skulls on the handle there. This is their Liquid Catsuit Liquid Eyeshadow in shade Goth Tears, which you can see is a really pretty pinky lilac iridescent shift with it on a white base. And then I got 3 eyeliners. I've got their H2O waterproof one in black, which is their standard line. And then I picked up 2 from the Goth collection, again with those gorgeous holographic skulls on them. The purple one is called Black Butterfly, and the white one is called Skull Prayer. So, it is time to start putting some of this stuff on my face. Now, obviously, I don't know how much fallout there's going to be from those shadows, so I'm going to start off by doing my eyes. But before I do anything else, I'm going to prime. So let's get you zoomed in. And let's see how this goes. Wow, it really has come over dark out there. Oh, look at that. I do like to see a nice safety seal on things. To speed things up, I have taken the seal off of a lot of the items, like the eyeshadow palettes and stuff, because these nails, the video would be like 16 hours long. Slight exaggeration, but you know what I mean. Right, so It's a squeezy tube. Oh, okay. Wasn't expecting that. I thought it was going to be clear. It's a white, no discernible scent to it, which is good because, as you'll know if you've seen my foundation review, the foundation kind of stinks like emulsion paint. Is it a silicone based? No, it's a water based. Aqua's the first ingredient. It does have methyl metacyclatin, and it has got dimethicone in it. So, if you are sensitive to any kind of silicons, then you will not be able to use this, even though it's not silicone based, and it does actually feel quite moisturising going on. It is a water based primer, but it has got silicone in it. Now, I didn't see a separate eyelid primer, but then everybody knows that's watched any of my videos, I don't use eyelid primers anyway. I use my normal primer across my eyes. I'm actually not going to use the antiperspirant primer today because I just want to see how this matte primer does by itself. And it's not going to be that hot today, it's only going to get up to about 13 degrees, so I'm hoping I'm not going to be getting too much sweat. My pain levels are quite low for me, so about 7 out of 10, and that's a low pain day. Yeah. So that's the primer. It definitely doesn't feel like a silicone primer. You've not got that sort of slippy feeling. You've got quite a good grippy feeling, but no pilling. It's not pilling up anywhere. So it's not one of these primers that you have to kind of do this with. You can actually smooth it, which is good. I'll pop that up there with my other primers. Do you know what? I'll do that in a minute. I need to wiggle things around to get them to fit. Right, where is that concealer? Let's zoom in a little bit further. Yoink. Now, obviously, I didn't get anything for brows, so I'll be using my normal brow pencil for that. But I'll do those after I've done my eyes anyway. So, Photo Focus Concealer. Like the foundation, it's tested under 7 light conditions: clear blue sunlit sky, outdoors PM, indoors PM, electronic flash, fluorescent light, bathroom light, nightclub light. Liquid concealer, Goodbye Photo Flashback, helps eliminate white particle reflection. So yeah, same as the foundation, pretty much. So, oh yeah, this smells not as badly as the foundation, but it does smell. It has got a scent to it. I mean, it's not a problem. I can't smell it when I'm sticking it on my eyes anyway. So, quite a small doe foot. But then it's quite a slim tube, similar to the Fit Me tube. So I will use this is just my So Eco flat foundation brush. I'm just going to use that to spread the concealer out across my eye, because this is what I use to prep my eyes. I don't use a separate eyelid primer, partly because where I've got such deep set eyes, I've got hyperpigmentation and I've got capillaries close to the surface, and I need a little bit more coverage that even a tinted eyelid primer can give you. And although I've got oily combo skin, I find that just a set eyeshadow is sufficient to hold my eyeshadows in place. I have tried proper eyelid primers, and there's no significant difference in terms of foundation wear time or fading or splitting and settling into lines and stuff. This is a Morphe G38. It's a brush that tailor uses a lot. Annoyingly, Morphe don't sell it anymore, but it is fab. It really is good for setting your eyes and setting your under eyes. It's become my firm favourite. So I'm going to have a look on places like Depop and that and see if anybody's actually selling any, so that I've got a backup. And this is still relatively new, so it should last me quite a while. Because it's not. I find that the Morphe brushes that tend to shed and fall apart are the cheaper range, the lower end range. That G38 is the chrome, sort of gunmetal grey range, and I've had a couple of those and they've seemed absolutely fine, so yay for that. Right, let's get this here Wet n Wild eyeshadow brush. It's actually quite nice. It's got a dimple on the handle, about halfway along, for you to put your finger in. Now, I actually prefer to hold mine right back at the end here, because then you put as little pressure as possible on your actual eye. But, if you've got mobility issues, that could be a good notch for you so you don't throw your thing away everywhere. Now, when I look straight ahead, you can see, let me zoom in just a fraction more. When I look ahead, you can see all of my mobile eyelids, so I don't have a hooded lid. If you do have a hooded or a half hooded lid or a mono lid or an Asian eye, you can still follow my tutorial. When I put my crease colour down, I'm going to be following my natural eye socket. All you need to do is get something like this, and with your eye open, just sketch where you're going to need your crease colour to be. Now, obviously, by moving that crease line up, you will reduce the amount of space between your brow and your crease line. So, there are two ways to deal with this, or two ways that I have found to deal with this. You can either raise your brows, but I would recommend you do that anyway, because that avoids skipping on the lid, because you're stretching your lid out nicely. Alternatively, you need to look at the brushes we're using. Now, obviously, I'm going to start off with this big fluffy blending brush, which has got a large sort of circumference that's actually going to be touching my eye. So if you've got a smaller space to deal with, start off with a more tapered blending brush like this. I will be using this as my second brush when I do the final really deep crease colour here. So when I move to this brush, if you've started with this brush, if you then go on to a pointed crease brush, it's not a pencil brush because it's still very loosely packed. Pencil brushes tend to be more densely and more tightly packed. So this will still give you the blending ability, but you can see you've got very, very little bristles actually in contact with the eye. Right, all that blether out the way, let's choose an eyeshadow palette. I think I'm going to go in with the Rosé in the Air one because it's the closest to Modern Renaissance, which is a staple in the beauty community. So, the sticker goes around the side, but it is perforated, so you can just tear off the bit down there, which means you get to keep the name of the palette. Now, on the back, it does give you an idea for daytime eyes and nighttime eyes, so if you are a beginner, that's quite a good one to start with. The shadows are just numbered. First ingredient is mica, second ingredient is talc. So, these are the shades, as you can see. So I'm going to start off with this bone shade here, because I've already set my eyes. If there's a shadow in the palette which is close to my natural skin tone, or a couple of shades lighter, I like to just, double bubble it and just run it over the whole lid, because I do find shadows from the same palette, which tend to be the same formula, do blend best on themselves. Okay, this brush is very, very soft. So we'll see how well it works with laying pigment down. It's going to be really good for blending, but I don't know how well it's going to be for laying pigment down. So let's find out. I'm going to start off going into this sort of kind of a mauvey shade. If it was the Modern Renaissance, I'd say it was Born Fresco, which is actually my favourite shade out of that palette. So I'm going to pick up some shadow on the brush, tap off on the colour switch, and I'm going to start off just by running that through my crease. In a windscreen wiper movement. Yeah, you can see it's. I don't know whether it's because the brush is. I'm actually going to switch back and use one of my usual brushes. I just want to see whether it's the pigment not coming up or if it's the brush not grabbing it. I think it could be that a bit of both actually. Right, let's pick up some more of that pigment. And now we're going to do little circular movements. When we get to the middle, without taking our brush off, we're going to lift up, reverse the direction, and come back again. And because I've got super deep eyes and a nice lot of eyelid space, I can actually go up and come back a third time, reversing direction again. Yeah, I think it's just that that brush doesn't pick up. It's going to be great for blending, not so good at picking up the pigment and laying it down. You can see the difference there. I like to leave sort of 4 or 5 mils between the lowest part of my brow, so that when I put a brow highlight on, it's more noticeable and it raises the brow up. So I'm just going to deepen up just the top bit. I just want to add a little bit more depth of colour up here. So, I mean, these would be great for people just getting into wearing makeup, be it that they're very young or they're a bit older and haven't really worn a lot of makeup and they're now getting into it, or, you know, if they're a male to female trans who have never had to wear makeup before. This is good because it builds up. You can definitely build the pigment up, but it definitely goes on very, very, very sheer to start with. So you are going to need patience with it if you want to build it up, or certainly with this colour anyway. Okay, I think I'm happy with the depth of that colour now. Let's continue with this brush on this side and just see. Yeah, I think it was definitely that other brush that wasn't really. I'll try washing that brush. It could be that it's still got some brushes when they come out of the factory have got like a starchy, waxy coating on them, and they don't pick pigment up very well until they've been washed. So I will give that blending brush a wash when I do all my other brushes at the end of the week, and just see if that does make a difference. I'm really glad now that I only bought the one, because you can see that this brush actually picked the pigment up much better and laid it down much quicker than the Wet n Wild brush did. But it is a super soft brush, so you know, if I can get it so that it will pick pigment up, it'll actually be quite a nice brush to use. or if you've got a palette, if it doesn't pick up a lot of pigment even after it's been washed, it could be quite useful with a palette that lays down too much pigment to start with, I suppose. Right, so that's the mauve blended out. Quite like that actually. That's not surprising, it's my favourite shade in the Modern Renaissance. Now they've only got, unlike the Modern Renaissance which has two pinks, this only has the one. So having gone for here, I think I'm going to deepen it up with this one. Which of those two? Darker shade. Okay, so the brown swatch is darker. So I think I'll go in with the red first, or the pink, and then I'll deepen up with this chocolate brown. So, still using our first brush, pick up some of the pinky shade right next to the one we've already used, and we're going to start off the same way with our windshield wiper movements like this. But this time, when we put the shadow on, with our circular movements, instead of when I get to the nose lifting the brush up the eye and reversing the direction, I'm still going to reverse the direction, but I want to keep the bottom of the brush in contact with that first crease line that I've just put down. At the moment it is quite patchy here, so let's see what happens when we start blending. Now, reds and blues, and obviously by definition purples, are some of the most difficult colours to create. So I'm just going to, nice little circular movements, holding the brush right at the very end, so I don't put too much pressure on my eye. Just backwards and forwards, nice little circular movements. I mean, it's still looking quite patchy on that outside edge there. Let's see if I can actually just deposit pigment down and then give it a buff. Yeah, this pink is definitely quite patchy on the outside edge here. Well, I'm going to be going over it with a deeper colour in a minute anyway, so I'm not going to overwork the colours. So again, continue with the windscreen wiper. Now I can show you what I mean about, if you ever hear me mention tiger striping. Because I'm blind in this eye and it got pulled around an awful lot at the ophthalmic hospital when I was like 4, 5, 6 years old. I've got permanent creasing here. So if I very gently stretch the eye out, can you see like these tiger stripes or like barcode stripes? This is an issue that I have, and unfortunately, normally the little circular movements will stretch your skin out and prevent this. That's why I do the circular movements on the next blend. But I've found from experience that unfortunately those creases are so deep that I do actually have to pull the lid out. Now I don't suggest that you do that with yours at all, unless you already have the same issue as me, because otherwise you will end up with the same issue as me. Skin on your eyes is very, very delicate indeed. So yeah, this pink definitely leaves a lot to be desired. It's not wanting to blend very nicely at all. Let's try just stamping some pigment on and then going back in. I'm going to try the Wet n Wild brush, that really soft one, and see whether that makes any difference too. I don't know, what do you think? Is that... I've not got any contact lenses in at the moment, and clearly I haven't got my glasses on, so I'm kind of relying on my zoomed in viewfinder and my mirror here. It's still really patchy here, but it does seem to have helped a bit this side. So it could be that this is just, could be that I'm due to get a spot or something just there. Perhaps that part of the skin is particularly greasy and that's why it's not blending. Because where I had that cold the other week, I am finding that I'm getting a load of spots cropping up as a result of it, so yay. Right, I'm now going down to my more tapered brush. If you've started with this, now's the time to go to your pointed crease brush. And I'm going to go in with that chocolate brown just underneath that pink. And initially I'm just going to load the brush and just lightly stamp that on the outside third of the eye, just to lay a bit of pigment down, give it a very, very gentle buff. Not too much, just I can't see what I'm doing, I'm relying on muscle memory, I have no idea how this looks. Oh yeah, not too bad, okay, a little bit patchy. Seems to be the theme for today, doesn't it? A little bit patchy. Right, so I've picked up some more pigment and I'm running through the crease as I have done with the previous two colours. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tilt my head back for this so you can actually see what I'm doing properly. You'll see clearer with the other eye because obviously I can close that. Whereas before we kept, wow, that's so patchy. We kept the bottom of the brushes in contact with the line. This time we're trying to keep the top of the brush in contact with the line. So we want to keep that brush just on that line. We don't want to move it up the eye at all. So really tiny, 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 tiny little circles. Running it just along the crease line itself. Very gently smoking that chocolate colour out. Yeah, this is disappointing to say the least. I mean, this was, how much was this one? $3.75. So I guess for $3.75 you're getting what you're paying for, really, aren't you? But that being said, Makeup Rev have got £4 palettes that are this size compared to this size, that work much better. So it can be done. See, this is where you see that you do get truth from me, because I was expecting to really, really like this, and I get the feeling I might have to take this makeup off and redo it before I go and pick up the husband from work, otherwise I'm going to look an absolute wreck. So yay, thanks for that Wet n Wild. So I'm just going to blend the brown at this side. I mean, it's definitely blending better this side. So I am wondering whether it is just an issue with my skin this side, maybe. Let's try. Sometimes going in with the finger can actually help, but obviously I can't always do that with nails like this, but on the outside edge I should be safe enough. You don't normally go in with your finger with a matte shade, it's normally a shimmer you'd use it for, but I don't really think that's made much discernible difference, has it really? I'm trying, folks, I'm trying. Kinda, maybe, sort of, possibly, perhaps. Right, let's pop that back in there for the minute. Let's grab the flat topped brush. Zoom you back out a minute. Bump. And get the foundation. Which, if you've seen my foundation review, you will know is a paddle foundation. So, oh, this really stinks. It honestly smells like emulsion that you put on your wall. It is a really good foundation though. I do like the foundation, that's the problem. It's like it's almost worth putting up with the smell because I like its finish, and I like how long it lasts on my skin. So let's okay, this is not a stipply type brush. This is not a very it's not a firm sort of like smack yourself in the head kabuki. This is one of the twirl it around kabukis, which unfortunately does increase the smell a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. Honestly, it does smell like bloody emulsion paint. I really can't emphasise that enough. If you don't like smelly makeup, you are not going to like this foundation at all. Because it really does honk something chronic. I mean, even my husband, I mean, the smell does die down, don't get me wrong. You don't smell like a freshly painted wall all day. But when you first put it on, it is very noticeable. But that brush has actually done quite a nice job spreading that foundation around. I'm quite pleased with that. And again, like with the powder brush, you know, the eyeshadow brush, this is very soft. So if you've got sensitive skin, this would be great. Because these bristles, you know, they're not going to irritate your skin at all. Although if you've got that sensitive a skin, I'd suggest a beauty sponge. And, you know, if you want a higher coverage, then, you know, go in with more layers and build it up. Because obviously the sponge does shear things out somewhat. That's actually given a really nice finish to this foundation. Okay, this brush definitely gets my seal of approval. Let's pop a little bit of the concealer on my wonderful dark circles. I don't do the huge triangles, it's totally unnecessary, it's a waste of product, and if you're not in a studio with it might look on you in a studio with studio lights on, but I can assure you when you get outside you do look like you've been stood at the side of the road when a polyfiller truck has exploded, or if you are American, a spackle truck has exploded. Well, as expected, it's the Photo Focus concealer to go with the Photo Focus foundation, and that's, you know, it's working really well on itself, but I would expect no less. They're obviously designed and produced to be worked and used together. Yes, I quite like that. Let's go back to my G38 brush and my wonderful Cody Airspun. Couldn't do without this powder now, absolutely adore it. A friend of mine bought it when she was over in America because it's quite difficult for us to get here. No idea why, because I'm sure we used to be able to get coaty stuff here quite easily. But a friend of mine went to America, bought this. This is a translucent extra coverage option. And she just couldn't get on with the smell because this is quite a floral smell. It reminds me of my nan's face powder, actually. I love it. Brings back a lot of memories. Good memories. But it's super finely milled. I mean, to me, a comparable powder to this would be something like Laura Mercier, actually. And we all know the price of Laura Mercier compared to the price of Coty Airspun. If you do want to get it over here in the UK, my best advice to you is to go onto Amazon and search for it on there and then filter it by Prime eligible delivery. Even if you're not a Prime member, because where Prime eligible deliveries are facilitated by Amazon, as I understand it, the vendor has to provide proof that the product is genuine. So you are less likely to get sold something that isn't the real thing. This is super finely milled. It does go everywhere when you're using it, but it does wonders at helping control my oils. I mean, on a day when I'm not really wanting to put makeup on, because I do like to give my skin a bit of a break. There are days when I don't put any makeup on at all, but if I need to go out and I don't really want to pile a load of makeup on, I will pop a bit of concealer on the dark circles and any blemishes that need concealing, and then bung a bit of Coty Airspun over everything else, bit of clear mascara, bit of lip gloss. I'm out the door. And sometimes I don't even use lip gloss, I use lip salve. A current favourite of mine, it has to be said, is this Avon one, their Lush Lips Balm in Pineapple. So good. So good. So I'm just using the L'Oreal Brow Expert in Cool Brunette. And you can see I just brush the brows into semblance of a shape, and then I'm just going through, just colouring the brows in, really, doing a bit of a fluffier bit at the front, and then just flicking through again, just with a spoolie, just to get any excess product out. And then I like to go in with a brow gel. Now, with brow gels, they start off clear and they end up looking a bit murky because obviously they do pick up some of the colour from your brow that you've put on. This is the Barry M Take a Brow. I like this one because it's got quite a small spoolie on it. I'm still trying to find one that's as good as the Benefit Ready Set Brow, or 24-hour brow setter as they now call it. Yet to find one that good, so if you know of one that's that good, let me know please in the comments below, I'd really appreciate it. Right, let's grab a couple of brushes. I'm going to grab this one here. This is a Coastal Scents tapered blending brush. I'm just going to grab that eyeshadow palette out again, and I'm going to go into this one here that they've called a transition colour. I'm just going to really carefully pick some of that up on the brush without picking up any of the nice orange next to it. Tap off, and I'm just going to use that as my bronzer contoury kind of shade today. It's quite a nice cool toned shade, works quite nicely, not too orange. Obviously if I wanted to warm it up I could use this one here. Okay, might have gone a little bit heavy there with that one. If you're going a bit heavy like that, best thing to do, grab your old brush that you've just done your powder with and see, I didn't make a mistake, just a happy little accident. Right, this is actually a BH Cosmetics brush. It's from their vegan range and it's so soft. I mean, these bristles genuinely feel like silk. I definitely want to get myself some more of these because they feel delightful. And I'm going to go into my pearlescent pink, which is actually more of a corally pink. It's got a little bit of an apricot sort of shift to it. So I'm just going to pop some of that on our cheeks. Oh yeah, this is a really nice brush. This again is their V2 brush, not to be confused with Doodlebugs. This again, taper blending brush. And it just, I think it was Nikki Raven that was saying about how their vegan range of brushes is really nice. So I spotted this on Beauty Bay and I thought, you know what? Let's get it, see what it's like. Because I wanted a new blush brush. I fancied a bit of a change. I've been using the same one for quite a while now. I do like to mix it up a bit. I do like that blush, that is so pretty. Right, let's zimmy back in and let's finish off the under eyes. And obviously the lids. I haven't forgotten. So back into our rosé in the air, and I'm going to use this flat brush. And I'm going to pick up, I think, some of the brown. And I'm just going to really gently smudge that under the lower lash line, going about 2/3 of the way along. I always flinch doing this eye because where I'm blind I have to rely on muscle memory and viewfinder so that I don't poke myself in the eye. And regular viewers know that it's not always that successful. Right, this is actually a Tarte brush. It's the brush that came with the Graveyard Girl Swamp Queen palette. And it's, again, nice and flat top, but it's a bit thicker. And I think I'm going to pick up, I might actually go into this slightly warmer, reddy, sort of Bambi coloured brown. And just smoke that lower lash line out, just to add a little bit of warmth under there. And go right the way. Oh, actually, okay, that's gone a little bit darker than I thought. We've got a little bit gothic here, but never mind. I do quite like that, actually. Good old Bob Ross, no mistakes, just happy little accents. That's what I was aiming for, see? Next door's kids sound like they're having fun. It's half term when I'm filming this, so. very nice, very nice, very nice. Right, now I'll get my flat brush here, this one. And I'm going to use, as always, my Obsession Pigment Boost. As I always say, you can use anything. You can use a moisturising spray like Fix Plus or Mario Badescu. You can use any setting spray. You can use a priming spray. You can just use clear water. Now there are two sort of shimmers in this palette. There's this gold and this brown. So I think, as I've gone quite dark, I think I'm going to continue with the dark theme and pick up the brown. Okay, that brown kicks up a lot. Can you see that? So we've packed pigment onto the brush. I'm now going to wet the brush. And I'm just going to apply this to the centre of the lid here. Actually, this is quite a nice brush. Oh, yeah, I'm going to take that all the way across. I was going to put some of the gold on the inner eye, but I think I'm going to use this really nice sort of coppery brown across the 2/3 of the lid that we hadn't yet put any colour onto. I really like that, and that ties in nicely then with the warm brown underneath the eye. I'm just taking all of the colour off of the brush and then drying it off on my hand, because I don't like to go in to any palette with a wet brush. I'm just going to pick up that loose pigment on the brush so it doesn't get wasted. See? And then I'll respray. The reason I don't like going in with a wet brush is because you can get hard pan, which means the colour seals over and it then becomes very difficult, if not impossible, to get any more colour out of that pan without doing some kind of remedial work to it. So, sort of like using sticky tape and taking the top layer off, or scratching the top layer off, and that of course does waste product. Okay, well, I think from a pretty ropey start, I think I've managed to rescue that quite well. I'm happy enough with that anyway that I would go out and meet the hubby. So let's use Blossom Glow, because this is the one that's got a sort of pinky champagne-y shift to it. Just put my pigment boost back. Right, and I've got this little brush here, flat top brush. This is what I use for my inner corner and underbrow highlight. I really don't want to ruin the flowers, so I'm going in right up in this corner here. This was just a really cheap brush that I got as part of a set off of eBay when I first started getting into makeup. You don't need expensive brushes to start with. Obviously, get the best quality brushes you can afford. Jessop's do some good ones. Is it PMQ, PMD, something like that? They do quite good ones. You know, you can actually find some quite nice sort of non-branded ones on apps like Wish and like AliExpress. Yes, you wait a bit longer for them to arrive. Yes, they're probably made in Chinese sweatshops, but you know, if you don't buy them, those poor buggers are out of job and they're even worse off than they are working in a sweatshop. Actually, I think a lot of them are just mass produced in factories, to be honest. The Chinese ones. Because the ones that I've had certainly don't feel handmade. But they do the job, they do what you want them to do. So, you know, means to an end. Right, I'm just going to zoom you out while I do. Actually, I could probably leave you zoomed in if I just lean back a little bit. Right, this is a Zoeva 105 Luxe Highlight Brush. So I'm going to pop a little bit down the nose, top lip, chin, and then cheekbone. Ooh, hello. You know what? Wet and Wild, you might have just redeemed yourself with this, because this is a really pretty highlight, and it doesn't. I mean, all highlights emphasise texture to a certain extent, but this doesn't scream at me that it's emphasising my texture. It's got quite a. It's one of these ones that the more you buff it into the skin, the more glass-like it becomes. That is super pretty. Oh yeah, that's definitely going to become one of my favourite highlighters. I can see that coming from a long way off. Right. This is the fun time. I have to try and do my eyeliner on camera without going out of shot. Take your bets, folks, as to how many times I'll go out of shot when I do this. Okay, not entirely sure what that was, but something fell. Right, this is their liquid eyeliner. Not tested on animals, H2O proof, as you can see. Which is good because this blooming eye is starting to water on me already. Let's zoom in just a fraction more, mainly so this blind bat can see what she's doing. Okay, this is it's a brush tip, not a felt tip, so there is some flexibility to the tip, which newbies might find a little bit difficult. I'm just looking round for a mirror, okay, so I can see what I'm doing and still stay in frame. Hopefully. Right, you can see I'm just following the shape of my eye at the moment and coming down to the lashes. I'm just going to re-dip to do the wing. Wings are not scary, folks. I have got a separate tutorial on this, but basically you're aiming from the corner of your eye to the end of your brow. And you can make it as short or as long as you like. And then straight line down, and it's just colouring in and remaining inside the lines. Now obviously, because I cannot close this eye, this is how I have to do my liner this side. You will see a slightly different method on the other eye, because of course I can shut this one. So this one, this side, I do tend to actually start with the wing itself. I'll just dip back in to do the rest of the lash line. I think I need to make this side a little bit longer actually. That's better. Now with this eye, because of all that creasing that I mentioned here, I actually have to stop the line before I get right into the corner, otherwise it travels all up those creases and absolutely ruins the look of the liner. I think, fingers crossed, I stayed in shot for most of that. I quite like this, although it's a flexible end to it, it still has a degree of firmness. It doesn't wibble around too much when you're doing the wings. So, final stage for the eyes is the mascara. Now, if you've never seen the Renegade mascara thing, it looks like that with a bobble on the end. Now, the bobble is great for getting your bottom lashes and any little lashes at the edge, but it is a bit of a bugger for poking yourself in the eye with, which I have done numerous times. So, I normally coat the top of the lashes first in case they've got any powder on them, and then I come underneath, wiggle it to the base, and gently blink through the brush. And over at this end here, I use the ball. It's quite a dry mascara. So if you don't like that, you're not going to like this at all. I don't mind. If you do want to try it and you're not keen on how dry the formula is, you can actually moisten it up a little bit by getting some saline eye drops from your local optician and just putting a few drops of that in, and that will loosen the formula up a little bit. My one actually sells packs of 20 little individual pipettes. Those are great because obviously once you've opened a thing of saline, you've then got a usage time before you have to get rid of it. This is what I mean by it being great for the bottom lashes, because you literally just run the ball along the bottom lashes like this, and you can see it really separates them and coats them all very nicely. So, happy with that. Oh, I've got an itch right in the corner of my eye and it's really annoying me, especially now I've done my makeup. Right, now I have two different lipsticks here. I've got a, what do they call this one? This is Just Peachy and is like a stick formulation, but obviously I've gone for a more mauvey look here, so I'm going to go in with this one, which is in shade Dark Pink Frost. And typically this is the one item that I haven't already opened. Oh, and it's going to be a bugger. Oh, you sod. Where are my tweezers? Let me zoom you out. This is a little uncomfortable for you, isn't it? There, isn't that better? Right. If ever you do have stubborn packaging like this, a set of tweezers can do wonders. Because I would have been here a hell of a lot longer and probably would have had to do a lot of editing. Probably would have been quite a few swear words as well. Right, let's zoom you back in again. Not that you need to be taught how to put a bullet lipstick on. This feels super creamy. Almost like rubbing a stick of butter on your lips. So it should be nice and moisturising though. Sorry. Yeah, that's super slippery. That's going to come off on cups, that's going to come off on glasses, that's going to come off on husbands, children, cats, whatever you kiss, that's coming off on. Just that's got a nice snap closure on it though, I will say that. Right. Let's go in with this new, actually no, let's use the cucumber one. I feel like the cucumber. I Heart Revolution Fixing Spray in Cucumber. Arm's length. Let's liberally douse our faces. Now you see, most people would stop here. Regular viewers will know if I spent this amount of time making myself look good, I want it to stay put. And I'm a little bit extra, so I use a little bit extra. You can skip this stage if you're happy with the amount of setting spray this use. Oh, look at that highlighter. Oh. Right. Let's take my hair down. I actually tried one of those Revolution hair dyes, one of the semi-permanent ones yesterday, to try and cover up some of my greys. It's covered quite a few of them. Some of them it hasn't covered, but then it never claimed it was going to. But it has given my hair quite a nice sort of purple tinge to it. So, what do I think of everything that I have used so far? Primer, felt nice. No idea how well it's going to work. We'll have to report back to you on that. We already know I like this. That's a given. So far, liking this, but again, I'll let you know. Really like this brush for applying the foundation. We'll try that with some other foundation some other foundation formulas in the future. This I need to give a wash to see if it'll actually pick up more pigment. If it won't pick up more pigment, I will use it for blending stubborn stuff out because it's super good at that, where it's so soft. Eyeshadow palette. Not overly impressed, gotta be honest. Quite sheer pigment, that's fine, so long as it builds up evenly, which you saw the struggles I was having with the red, and to a certain extent with that chocolate brown. I will use the other colours on other days, and obviously I will also give this eyeshadow palette and this little baby eyeshadow palette a trial run as well to determine my final thoughts on them. and whether or not I would recommend them to you. We know I like the blush. I actually want to get the apricot in the middle because I'm going through a really peachy stage at the moment, blush wise. I'm properly liking that. Highlighter definitely passes my seal of approval, providing it doesn't fade too much throughout the day. I will let you know on that one. As I said, I've used a trial sample of this before, like a little mini version of it. Really, really like this formula. It is very dry though, so if you don't like dry mascaras, you are not going to like this. And I usually find, I mean, it says it's got a 6-month usage life once opened. I rarely keep a mascara past 3 months. And I would imagine by the end of the 6 months you are going to need those saline eye drops, otherwise you're not going to be getting any mascara out of that at all. Eyeliner. Yeah, went on lovely, nice and opaque, good control through the, although it's a flexible brush, fair amount of control with it, didn't flick out, didn't splay out. I'll let you know what it wears like in future videos. Lipstick, very nice, went on opaque with the one swipe, very, very soft, very emollient, so it's going to be really nice and moisturising in this dry weather. It's brightened up again now, my white balance is, I'm going to have to do so much tinkering with my white balance when I do the editing on this video. Feels really, really, really nice. Oh, and the other new thing that I tried today was this BH vegan brush. I know it's not Wet n Wild, but I definitely recommend it. It's so soft. Oh, it's just like, it feels like cat fur. You know when you've got like a really sleek cat with like, usually the black cats that are super, super shiny, the short haired ones, it feels like, actually it feels even softer than that, it's almost like baby hair. And it's vegan and cruelty free and everything, so awesome. Yeah, I guess that kind of covers everything that I've used so far today. Obviously, I will report back to you. I promise, it's probably going to be an end of the year roundup of, at this rate, of all the different new stuff that I've used, and ones where I've not put like pictures up and everything for the wear time on things. But yeah, so there we go. There's my almost full face of Wet n Wild products. So, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, it would be awesome if you could hit that like button for me, comment, share, subscribe. When you subscribe, don't forget to ring my bell, and choose all notifications so you get told every time I upload another one of these videos. And talking of another one of these videos, you've watched one. They're addictive, aren't they? You want to watch another one, don't you? I know you do. And when you've watched mine, in the description box there are a list of equally lovely ladies that are part of the beauty YouTuber growth group, and I would be personally very thankful if you would pop across and check out their channels as well and see if there's anything there that you enjoy watching too. Right, all that remains for me to say, as ever, is you'll stay fabulous now, and I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.